What's up, y'all? It's Haley from Barnes on the Go, and in today's video, I will be giving you all a full review of Princess Cruises. This was our first time sailing Princess Cruises, and we were aboard the Discovery Princess on our sailing to Alaska. So let's get right into it. What I loved was the food in the marketplace. Now, I'm always looking for when I'm on the ship, that's the first thing that I'm gonna rate is the food. And the marketplace, which was their buffet, did not disappoint. We pretty much ate in there every day on our 7 day sailing. The buffet was very plentiful. It was flavorful, which is surprising for buffets. It was clean. It was efficient. We found a table every time we went in there. It wasn't crazy packed. Even on sea days, it was pretty good, ample seating for everyone. So I will say that I enjoyed the World Marketplace. The next eatery that we went to was the Salty Dog Grill. So that's where you get like your hot dogs and your hamburgers, like your fast food type thing. So was not a fan of the service there, and it was to no fault of the staff. They were just understaffed. So it was two people working the Salty Dog. The whole set, like when I would go there, I went there 3 times. Like I said, on a 7 day sailing, and each time I went, there was one person cooking, one person preparing the food, and then a couple of days I went, there was one person like taking orders, but that person taking orders never did go and help the person on the grill or prepare the orders, even though the line would be bagged up. So was not a fan of that. That was kind of the mumblings and grumblings aboard the ship when we were on there, is that it was slow for everybody, because I'm like, okay, is this kind of a one-off? But no, it was pretty much a lot of people's experience when we were on board. Now, the dining room experience, that was not what I thought it would be aboard, what is supposed to be a luxury liner. Like, it was beautiful in aesthetics, but service lacked and the food lacked. So we went there the first night. Service was slow. They seemed kind of confused about who was doing what. So, and we had a large party too. So I guess we can account for some of that. We had a large party and they were kind of confused on who was doing what and when. So we went to dinner, where I went one night on my 7 day sailing. My other family members, they went other nights as well and said it was kind of about the same, but I was done after that first night, so I did not return. I did return to the dining room for lunch one day. They had fish and chips, and that's one of my favorite dishes. And it was so good. The fish was fried to perfection. They had, of course, the chips. They were good. I did go back for breakfast one morning, just on a one-off. Like, I was walking past the dining room around breakfast time. I was like, hey, let me stop in there and check it out. It was okay. They just had, pastries. They had salmon and eggs. It was just okay. Like, it wasn't anything to write home about. Another thing that I loved, the medallion system. Now, I'm not big on technology, but I enjoyed first not having that sailing sign card, or card that tips up most cruise lines give you, but the medallion system won me over. So this is how the medallion looks. So you can get this at the port, or they can mail it to your home for a fee. So you can have this, and they give you the lanyard too. I had to get fancy, and so I got this, which is a attachment that went on my Apple Watch, that I just attached to my watch, and I had my watch on the whole time I was on board, and so I would just put my watch up to it and open the door. Now, with the medallions, it senses you coming to your room. So if you're maybe 3 doors down from your room, your door will unlock because it senses you coming. And it will also show who's coming into the room. I really like that. Like, your name would show up and your picture would show up. So I really like that. Also, when you would order, whether you at a specialty restaurant or, at the bar, so it would alert that server of who you were, like who was ordering. So they would call you by name when you were ordering, because they knew it was you that was placed in the order. So I really thought that was cool. I'm hoping maybe some other cruise lines will go to that in the future, but I really like the medallion system. Another thing I love, like the free offerings for fitness. So they had Zumba classes every other day for free in the Piazza. They did, I think, 3 days on my sailing. I wasn't able to go but once, because this sailing was one of my, it was the best sailings I've had in terms of scenery and atmosphere, but it was also the most exhausting. So did not make Zumba but one day. But when I did go, it was a lot of high energy. The crowd was participating. The instructor was energetic. So if you're a Zumba person like me, definitely check out one of those free Zumba offerings in the Piazza if you have time and the energy for it. I also took a bar class in the fitness center, and that was a lot of fun. Now, you have to pay for those, but I felt like it was worth it. It was a good time. It was energetic also. The instructor was knowledgeable about bar because I take bar here at home, so he was very knowledgeable about bar. It was a good workout. I needed that workout after all I had eaten in the marketplace. So I enjoyed that. So if you're a bar person too, like me, check out the bar classes that they offer in the fitness center. Now, I let's get over here to what I did not like. So that app, that Princess app, my goodness, it is. I'm trying to think of a word not to say awful, but it's awful. So even from pre-sailing to being on board, you can't do much on the app. Mostly everything, like if we had an issue, we had to call customer service, which is its own beast because they're not very helpful as well. The app is very slow. You cannot see like the schedule of activities like you can for some other cruise lines. The chat feature, they do have that chat feature for free on when you're on board. You can talk to other people in your party. That was very spotty on our time on board, so it really wasn't very helpful. Um, but with the app, so with boarding passes, so let's go back there. So with boarding passes, if you have more than one person in your party, just say you and you have your family, you have your kids on there, you have to log yourself out of your app and then log them in to get their boarding passes so they don't all come up at once. And that's tedious. It was four of us, of course, and it was just tedious to keep logging out, logging back in. Then you have to screenshot the boarding pass to get on. So imagine if you had, more than four, 6 or 7 people that you had to keep doing that for. It can get pretty tedious. So I really hope that they can improve that app because it's so much work that needs to be done there and a lot of space for opportunity and growth with that. Another thing that I like aboard Princess, and I'm not sure if other cruise lines do this as well. So you guys sound off in the comments if other cruise lines do this on these sailings to Alaska. But they have an enrichment piece that I enjoyed. And with that came like you're being educated by naturalists and other specialists that live in Alaska or have lived in Alaska on the lay of the land, the wildlife, the food, the native people. So every other day they would have someone come in and talk about, what you were getting ready to see if we were coming into a different port or whatnot. So we went to the first class with the naturalist, and that was our first day at sea before we arrived to Ketchikan. His name was Michael. I cannot remember his last name right now, but he was great. He was on board, of course, the whole sailing, and he provided a lot of education about the places that we were going. Um, I like learning, so I really like that enrichment piece and the educational piece to it, and for my kids as well, who got to learn a lot about the wildlife in Alaska and the weather, letting us know what we were seeing as we sailed. Um, that same naturalist also narrated or kind of talked us through, I guess so to speak, when we sailed into Endicott Arm and the Dawes Glacier, letting us know, what rock formations used to be this or that, and letting us know what areas we were entering and what wildlife we might see. And also, he would get on the loudspeaker and announce when there was a wildlife sighting. So of course, every time he did that, I missed it. He'd be on one side of the ship, I was on a completely different other side, so I always missed the wildlife sighting. But I thought that that was really cool and really helpful. So like I said, you guys let me know in the comments if other cruise lines do that and if you liked it, like how engaging it was. Also, let's get back into what I did not like. So entertainment wise, I I'm not a I love music, but I don't have to have like a lot of different, you know, entertainment, less so to speak. So that's shows, that's, bands and whatnot. The entertainment was lacking in a lot of areas. I felt like it was a lot of classical piano, which I mean, don't get me wrong, that's not bad, but it was just kind of putting you to sleep in some areas. Especially they would play it a lot in the bar area. We would go to the Good Spirits at Sea Bar a lot, which is I think it's on 5 Piazza level on the Discovery Princess. We love that area. It's a good spot for a drink and also to people watch. But a lot of classical music being played there, and I get it. Princess has an older crowd. They're not catering to rock and roll or R&B and all these other types of genres. It's more of just for chill. laid back vibe, but I think they could have incorporated all types of music um, on the sailing because it was pretty much very sedate. Now, granted, I don't like a lot going on at some points. Like I want to be able to rest and just enjoy, but it was pretty much like that the entire time. So, but like I said, we knew that going in that it wouldn't be, the demographic was, older adults. So we weren't expecting, a lot of hustle and bustle, but it still was very sedate even for some of the older adults because we had my parents were there as well and they're older and they were like, okay, this is old even for us. So yeah, wish they had more, different types of genres and with more you know, upbeat entertainment. So I did go to one show. It was I think called Viva La Musica, and that was okay. I'm not a big fan of shows at sea. Now, I should have prefaced that by saying that. Like, I typically don't go to um, the shows at sea unless it has to be something totally like that's piquing my interest. Otherwise, I tend to sit those out. But Viva La Musica was okay. I give it, maybe a B minus. I like the music. The dancing was nice. I like that. It just wasn't, blow me away spectacular, but I did enjoy it. I also want to touch on too in this video is Princess Cruises right for families. So if your children are children who like, water slides and fireworks and all the dazzle and wow, then probably not the cruise line for you guys. But if you're sailing as a multi-generational family like we were, then it just may be something that you want to look into that may work for you all. My children liked the kids club. So on board Princess Cruises, it's called the Treehouse. I did a video on that earlier too. It's part of my boarding day video. But my daughter absolutely loved the Treehouse. Now, which is funny because my daughter does not like the kids clubs typically on cruises. So she absolutely did not like Disney Oceaneers Club. And I'm like, it's Disney. What do you not like? Did not like it at all. This is the one that won her over, surprisingly. So they have that enrichment piece as well in the kids club. They did a lot of education, a lot of fun crafts and activities with the kids related to Alaska, which I thought was cool. One day they built totem poles. One day they made bear claws. One day they made like these little knapsacks with the outline of the state of Alaska on it, what that they colored in and got to bring back with them. So I really like that they bring in that education piece and incorporate where they're sailing with the kids activities. The same with my son. He was with the older kids. They did like a little more like, video games and like group type activities, but he enjoyed it as well, just being hanging out with the other kids. There were surprisingly a lot of kids on our sailing, I guess because it was June and summer and you know it was Alaska, so a lot of families on there, but it did not seem like it was a lot of children on there. Like it was not, there were no shenanigans. Nobody was running up and down the halls at night, up and down the stairs. Like you knew there were kids on there because you saw them around and, at dinner and other places. But you could not tell like, oh, it's a lot of kids on here. My God, it's loud as this. Like they were very much sedate. Like that was the vibe of the whole sailing. Like it was sedate. Like you're there for the views and the experience and the atmosphere. So if your kids are into nature and learning and just and like I said, if you're with the multi-generational family, like they were grandparents and aunts and uncles, they will be entertained with everybody else. But just don't look for the slides and all the wild things going on because there that was not there. Also, if your kids like being in the pool, so we went in June and it still was not, it's not warm enough to swim. We got one day where the kids got in the pool and that was Skagway, and that was Thursday. We came back Sunday. It was 63 degrees and the sun was out. It still was chilly, but my kids just insisted that they get in the pool. So they got in the pool for about an hour. When they got out, their little teeth were chattering. So just know it's not going to be a sailing where the kids get to go hang out by the pool or get in the pool every day. Like that's not going to be if you're sailing to Alaska. Now of course if you're on Princess and you're going to the Caribbean, then of course you will be able to do that. But going to Alaska, you're not going to be able to do that. So just something to consider when you're looking into Princess as a family. What are the kids going to be doing? Are they going to be bored out of their minds? Are you going to be the ones having to entertain them? So just keep that in mind when you're looking at sailing, especially on Princess, what it should look like, what you want it to look like for you and your family. All right, so we're down to it. Is Princess Cruises a one and done for us? My answer is yes. I think we are done with Princess. We came, we saw, we conquered, we got to experience what Princess Cruises was like. I don't think we need a redo of Princess. I think that um, in terms of offerings, we can get that on other cruise lines. Based not let me say maybe not Alaska, but going to the Caribbean or Mediterranean or transatlantic, I think we may opt for someone else. But I think in terms of Alaska, we were told always that Princess was top notch in Alaska. That's the way to go. So that's where we went. And I may agree with that. You guys let me know in the comments if you feel like other cruise lines are beating them out. Like I said, this is our first go around with Princess, so let me know if other cruise lines are making a splash in Alaska where we need to check them out, because we do want to go back to Alaska. Don't get me wrong, we are going back to Alaska. I don't know when, I don't know where, I don't know how, but we will be going back because that trip it's been, in terms of destination, that's the best cruise we've been on. But I think Princess as a cruise line, I don't think we need to redo that. And that was not. I took a poll before we all got off. Like I asked everybody, like, what do y'all think? Are we doing this again? They were like, nah, we're good. We good. We've seen enough. So not a bad experience, just not one that we need to um, redo going anywhere else. But again, let me know in the comments if I'm wrong and I need to give Francis another shot somewhere else and see what it's like. I just didn't get anything that I was like, oh man, I'm sailing Princess for forever, and I didn't get that. But again, not a bad experience, just not one I need to recreate. So I hope this video has helped someone, kind of pick to see, is this right for you, you and your family as well. If you've liked anything in this video, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more family travel content. Also, go back and check out our playlist of our whole Alaska cruise series where I talked about each port we went to, what we did, what we didn't do. Thank you guys so much for watching.